It's with great pleasure I'd like to introduce a special act for you tonight, special turn. He's a very fine poet and trombone player all together packed in one.
Thanks very much. It was called Strangled by Ivy, or something. I think the name for it in due course. This is a thing called Trombone Poetry. That's the trombone there. And the poetry's in my pocket. It's actually mostly on this phone, so don't think I'm going to start texting or something stupid like that. You can do that, but I'll do this because usually I do these gigs, there's no light, and I can't believe what I'm doing, so I've got this cunning device called an iPhone. Face it. As we go round and round the old routine, I try not to look at you, but you catch my eye. Every day the same, that unyielding look, always pointing this way and that, the endless tut-tutting. Although it's mutual, I'm quite convinced that you wind me up more than I you. Despite the aesthetics, sooner or later, I will end up replacing you with a digital clock. Some of the poems are in an old-fashioned way, scribbled in a notebook like this. But that doesn't mean to say that they're not brand new. Just remains to see if I can read the scribble that I just put down only a few moments ago. Can you turn it down a bit because it's really booming, is it? You can hear me back. Can you hear me if I do this? Can you still hear me now? No, just about. It's boom or bust, isn't it, really? If it's here. Okay, this is called Fly Up Fancy. Once upon a time, I captured a dove. I abducted it, imprisoned it, and when it suited me, I released it from an upstairs window. This goes to show that I'm a man of peace, or would have done, but nobody noticed, as I lead an obscure life. It might be better to get a pope to do it, a bloke weighed down with fame and symbolism. That should play well. What could possibly go wrong? Imagine the absurd scenario of the doves of peace being mauled and mugged by, for example, a common crow and/or an opportunistic seagull. Either that spells disaster, or the whole thing is an empty box. I did wave goodbye to my dove as he left, and he shat on the windowsill. That's that, okay? You can have a sound walk now, or a poem about the tube. You've got a choice. You don't care, do you? You don't really care. I'm hurt now. Okay, let's find this one. This is called, it's about communications, or the lack of, and about, mixed, trying to get the signals from things. It's a bit difficult. I don't mean railway signals, I mean, just communications and all that. It's about trying to interpret the world as you see it and all that. It's called Uncertain Underground. Due to placing, and there being too many words, I failed to get the message in the woman's tattoo, despite all that pain. Across the aisle, an aisle of scandalous gossip, Sunday best semaphore, freely broadcast in an African dialect. A dozen arses away, a young gentleman indicates, by leakage, the chinks of sound that will soon be all he can hear. I know neither whether the woman in dark glasses is trying to read my writing, nor where this poem is going, apart from Balaam. I'll play a tune, I'll play a little tune. That's a tune off my still uncannily available album Speech. It's a tune called Louis, named after one of my heroes, Louis Armstrong. Now I've got to resort to the book to find out where I am now. Oh yeah, I'm going to read a poem. This was had a bit of fame, this poem, actually. But I need to, there's a bit of a prologue while I fumble around. This is a type of poem I'm calling a foundling. It's made out of old newspapers. I've been making poems out of old papers for quite a while now in a desperate bid to appear more green than I actually am. You take a newspaper, you find a phrase that you like across a column on page 1, right? And you do the same throughout the newspaper. Every page that's got articles, you must find a phrase that you fancy across a column, ignoring any split words, right? And then you've got a little pile of them, you kick them around for a few days, and if you're lucky, you might be able to assemble one of the many poems that's been hiding in that newspaper all along. Takes quite a while. You need a word processor and a certain cast of mind, I suppose. And this one, I was reading this one out. No, I was reading another one out. I was reading at a poetry reading, and there was a guy there. No, it was this one. Yeah, I'm talking bollocks. It was this one. I read this poem out at a reading, and I said that this poem is made out of a copy of the Morning Star that I found lying around. And people liked it, including this geezer who was at the event. And he was the poetry editor of the Morning Star. And he said, I really like that, can I put it in the newspaper? So I managed to recycle a bit of the Morning Star in the Morning Star. Which, anyway, it takes a lot longer to explain this than it does to read it out, but anyway, it's called Much Better. A Romanian medical official, phrase-mongering about a new form of capitalism, gave a perfect demonstration of the Stanislavski system of comfortable truths and worsening conditions. It was not all doom and gloom. Campaigners welcomed the shame-based approach to the clarinet and the alto sax. Slogging through the rice paddies would be much better than stoking the fires of conflict. It is not perfect. If you're interested, there's a website unbelievably attached to this project called trombonepoetry.com. And of course, Twitter and Facebook and all the rest of it. So we could be, we could be friends in a kind of hands-off digital kind of way. Yeah, I'm going to read a couple of... I'm taking a big risk here because I wrote these only today. I don't normally do this, but I thought, as I'm in Nunhead or wherever the hell I am, I'll do it. This is called Foresight. Lloyd Square at lunchtime. I notice a van with a camera perched on a 5-story mast. I decide to ask questions, fully aware of the obvious risk that they'd look down on me. I was actually here yesterday playing a gig. I hope nobody's here from that gig, are they? Good. Okay. So this is about that in a way it is, in an oblique sort of way, called signal failure. Flailing around in a bubble of make-believe, the would-be conductor waves at the jazz ensemble, which swings along without his help. For a few promising minutes, he teeters on a stool, but does not fall to the occasion. Where the written music tells us to play quieter, we play quieter. He signals us to play quieter, and so it goes, same old semaphore. We only look up for the endings, which he usually misdirects. It can't be a happy job. Perhaps he'd be better at conducting electricity. Thanks very much. You've been listening to Trombone Poet. Cheers.